This is a set of instructions on, hopefully we'll walk through the virtual desktop for School of Art and Design at Suffolk, which effectively has been rolled out today, August 21st. I'm working from a remote location, so I'm going to start up the VMware client. So if you, whoops, sorry, that's the installation program. If you're working from a remote location, you will install what's called a VMware Horizon client, and that's posted on Suffolk's website, and there are instructions on how to install it and use it. When you specify a server, you would indicate desktop.suffolk.edu. Now, I've already done that, but in the event that you have nothing there, that's what you would connect to. Then you're prompted, if you're prompted with a blank, you would enter your Suffolk user name, which would be the name that you'd see before your email without the ampersand, domain suffix, yeah. And then type in your current Suffolk University password. You will then be presented. You probably won't see this Art and Design test that we've been using that for text. You will see probably only Arts and Design pool, and you would double click that, and that would start up your connection to the virtual desktop. If you have more than one monitor set up, it might split. This display will be drawing in more than one place, so eventually, if there's one monitor, it'll probably center like so. It takes a while for the startup scripts to get loaded, so be patient while this happens. And what I'm going to try to do is walk through the several applications that we use. This is telling you that the NVIDIA video drivers loaded, which we need for programs like Enscape and any graphic intensive programs. You don't need to respond to that. Then you're presented with a Windows 10 environment. The applications are available to you from this bottom left prompt. Brings up the available apps. Here are the Adobe Suite programs. So let's start very simply with Photoshop, for example. You'll see that these are the current versions. If you haven't logged in, Adobe is prompting you to log in, and you need to select Sign In with Enterprise ID. So this is where you put in your username and password again, your Suffolk username and password. and click on sign in with the enterprise ID. It's possible that I made this mistake. Scarella. Okay, there we go. So this brings you back to the familiar Suffolk University global sign-in screen. Type in your username again. I believe you should only have to do this once per session. But you do need to log in order to use the Adobe programs. You don't have to do them for every single program that you use. You may have some messages that are confusing like this. Keyboard shortcuts related to undo have been updated, so that means, what does that mean? Maybe Control Z now has some extended functionality. You can normally ignore messages like this. There's plenty of time to catch up with keyboard shortcuts. This isn't meant to be a lesson in Adobe Photoshop, but if you know where files are located, for instance, if I go to the File Explorer, typically things default to the Documents directory. Now I don't have anything in that Documents directory just yet, so I want to go to my handouts. In spring we did IDC, so we probably have some Photoshop files here. It's kitchen. Here's a Photoshop file. This is one of the students' Photoshop files. I'm going to copy it. This is best practice. Copy it to your Documents folder. Paste. And then you can open it directly from there. Important thing to remember, the virtual desktop is a temporary environment. It may persist for some weeks and it may persist for a single day. When you're done at the end of the day, you need to upload your files to your either Dropbox or OneDrive, or where you're keeping your work. So the virtual desktop is a temporary environment where we allocate a certain amount of disk space and memory, and that disappears at the end of the session. So here's one of the students' files that has layers of Photoshop layers of work. Fine. I'm not saving that work. So once you've logged into any Adobe program, you should be able to load any other program. So let's try Illustrator. So notice when I start Illustrator, it's not prompting me to sign into to use my Adobe ID or Enterprise ID or anything else. Probably what I'll do is stop here and record the procedure for signing in and then launching Autodesk applications, and then finally launching SketchUp or another 3D modeling application. So I think we have Blender as well. We don't use it just yet. So again, Adobe programs default to this documents directory. So you could, with a Control N, create a new window for this and say you wanted to pull from your handouts folder last fall's Illustrator projects. You just copy a document into there and open it. So there's an Illustrator line drawing of something or other. This is not a lesson in Illustrator, so I'm not going to bother with trying to perform. Okay, let's say for some reason, after using Photoshop or Illustrator, I saved a file. Let's go ahead and do that. So I'll show an actual example. I'm opening a Photoshop file that I know has, it's a PSD type file, and I'm going to save it out. In this case, I explain to the student how to conduct, how to create reflections of this cabinet by mirroring the layer the cabinets are on, and then turning down the opacity of that layer. So I'm turning off the reflection layer, for example. And I'm going to save this as. Save as. Reflections off. Right, so I've done some work, I've finished, I've saved my work. It's currently saved in my documents directory, and this is a temporary space. That is what the message in the background of VDI. Let me minimize these windows. This desktop is a temporary workspace. Files will be removed periodically. Back up all important data to OneDrive. So, when I'm done with all this, I want to log into OneDrive, which you do by going to some browser. OneDrive. Sign in. Save that password. Why not? So here's the stuff that I have on OneDrive. Let's just make a new folder. And let's call it August 21 work. VDI. Open that folder, take my file, drag to copy it to OneDrive. So now you have a saved copy of that work. This process could be repeated for lots of different programs, but essentially the procedure is going to be the same. You're going to save your work to the OneDrive location. Conversely, if you wanted to continue to work on something, let's imagine that this file didn't exist here. In fact, I'll delete it from my Documents folder. So now I want to take that file. I didn't mean to. I'm going to select that file and say down and download it. One file is selected. Click on download, and it defaults to what? If you click here, you can say show in folder, and it's showing you where it defaults to saving the file. So you can move it, it saves it to download, you can move it to your Documents directory. Because I have a window open for Documents, or I have another window open that I can switch to Documents, I can open my Downloads folder and just take that file and copy it to Documents. So that's the process. We will, I'll repeat this for some other applications, but the procedure, the steps you take will be pretty much the same.